Rookie mistake. Hello, the internet, and welcome back to the live stream. It is Friday, the 26th of July, 2019. I've just made a boo-boo. Today we'll be live for 56 minutes. That is the first time that's happened. I know what I had. I had the stream running in the background, and as the intro was rolling, I was like, why can I hear my audio? That does not sound right. Hey, 56 streams in, and I guess there's every chance that you could make a mistake, but here we are anyway, regardless of that fact. Now I'm all out of sorts. Looking back in the chit-chat, who's up there first? We had Mindy talking about the subject. We're going to talk about skateboarding in the Olympics. She's saying, in my opinion, if snowboarding is an Olympic sport, so should skateboarding be. The X Games are pretty cool, and I think they have a pretty strong following. Well, I've got personal anecdotes to share with in regards to the topic of conversation. I spent most of my life skateboarding from 11 years of age, and there are a few there's a few things that need discussing in regards to skateboarding and the Olympic Games, I think, but we'll get to that. Tim says, I think it should be. You could have some set moves the riders must make and then let them freestyle for extra points, a bit like they do in floor gymnastics or ice skating. And yeah, that's totally what they will do in terms of the scoring. There's kind of key elements of moves that need to be executed, if you like. But that's always been the case in skateboarding. But I guess bringing it to a global look, we'll dig into it. We'll dig into this as the conversation wears in, but that's definitely a good point, Tim. He says good morning. Tim and Mindy were chit-chatting. Mindy's been off sick. She's got a bit of a flu coming down. That's no good. She works in healthcare, so she's surrounded by the nasty bugs as they come into the place. She's got to have a high tolerance, and I just kind of said in that chat, I'm going for the multivitamins and the echinacea and also garlic. Whenever I'm in a position where I think I'm exposed to more potential to be ill, such as a winter waiver day. I'm out there surfing every day in the winter, even though, winter here in Australia is not that dubious, not that cold, but I still want to boost the immunity. And I'm sure Mindy does similar things in her job. Mindy being Northrump MJ, for those looking in the chat wondering who I'm talking about. Tim, I'm waiting for the boy wonder to get his ass out of bed, dressed into the car. He calls his son the boy wonder. That's pretty cool. Okay, so Mindy says Tim says hotel staff tend to get latest bugs from international visitors. That's true. Yeah, that's true. You'd have to be kind of dosed up on all kinds of meds before you worked in a hotel industry for sure. Tim's gone. No worries, Tim. That's what I've said. The multivitamins. Travel jet setter in the house. He's about to jump on a train. So good to see you, travel jet setter, ever so briefly. Thanks for swinging by. How was your dinner? He's doing his trip. That's cheap. He's telling me the cost. Johan Sebastian's son. Johan, welcome to the chit chat for the Gives a Minute live stream on the YouTube. Good to see you, man. Jamie Walker in the house. Jamie Walker, we haven't seen you in a long time, Jamie. This deserves a cheers. I cheers everybody on the D Live when they join the chat, and there you go. There's one for you on the YouTube. Jackson, it should because a lot of people are really, he's talking about will skateboarding and should it be an Olympic sport, should it succeed at Olympic sports, because it is an Olympic sport as of 2020, as is surfing. So me and the surfing thing, but I guess I have more history with skateboarding and more of a knowledge base to talk about skateboarding. But interestingly, at the same time that skateboarding was accepted, so was surfing. So it's kind of cool that both of those sports are now in the Olympics. But whether they remain in the Olympics, that's the other thing, I guess. This could be considered a trial or a teething. We don't know. MWC3. Hello, MWC3. Welcome to the Gives a Minute YouTube chit chat. There's a cheers for you. I've never seen your handle before. Good to see you here. Everyone's saying hello. Tim says lots of hotel staff would self-medicate by one fashion or another, and that's kind of along the same lines of the angle of what I want to take on our chit-chat here today about the topic. But there's the chat for everyone to play along if you want to see it. Thanks everybody for jumping in early. I do apologize again for the stream inception. I'm not even sure if you guys could hear that, but I know that it took me off my game. I was a little bit out of sorts when we were entering, when we landed here at the stream. It's bad. It's a bad mistake of mine. I should have been onto it. I'm onto it now. Shane Allwood, hello room. Hello chat. Hello Shane. Good to see approved, authorized Shane Allwood here. Verified even. Everyone's saying hi to you, Shane. Now, I did have a banging surf yesterday. Speaking of surfing and the Olympics and skateboarding, I had a surf where I went out here thinking, well, there's not a lot of swell, so we're not going to dwell on that. We're not going to dwell on the swell. Well, we're not going to dwell on the swell. So I went out there, but actually when I got in the water, straight off the bat, within the first 6 minutes, I got 2 waves. Like I took a right. It was okay, got me pumped. Turned around, started paddling out. Whoa, what's that? Paddled out, turned around, got a banging left. Got me so pumped. And then, as you'll see in this super quick wave a day, the next wave didn't come until about 36 minutes. So that first session, the first wave and the first one on left and right and left, got me so pumped up, and then I sat there for that long waiting. But you don't have to wait that long. This super quick wave a day only goes for 4 minutes today. But I want to show it to you because I'm super psyched and pumped. And fingers crossed, there's more out there today, even though I know the swell's gone down again. Welcome back to the super quick wave a day edit. Now, my strategy to not talk about the swell, I should have specified. Don't talk about the swell when it's rubbish. We all know when it's rubbish because we can see there's no swell. Today, there was a little bit of swell, so I talked about it, and I got some great waves. Well, good morning, Thursday. See what I did there? Swell. I said no more talking about the swell if it's lousy. But today it looks kind of good. Good. The earth is going for a steal. Two sick waves in succession. Woo! I didn't even get a chance to talk about the first wave, and that second one, the lefty poo. Wow, this has only been 6 minutes. This is gonna be a good surf, I can feel it. Particularly strange. Those 2 waves I got within the first 6 minutes. We are now at the 38-minute mark, and there has not been another ride since then. It's almost like that was a fluke when I got out here. There was a set that came through, and it has been completely void of any rides, any possible way. There's just been nothing since then. Look at this. Well, hey, if those 2 waves are the only 2 I get today, damn, they were fun, they were worth it. But I was kind of hoping for some more. Feel it in my bones, feel it in my bones. We'll get tonight.
spoke too soon, huh? It's like I tempted the wave gods, mocking them, saying how there aren't any waves, and then, well, hello! I'll give you this right. Take it, gives a minute. Thank you, wave gods. Now can I get some more? That was a fun ride, so much fun, more fun than Christmas.
How about that? Don't mention the swell when it's rubbish, mention it when it's good, come back with good waves. This is a plan, I'm keeping this plan. Now, while I think about not mentioning or mentioning the swell again tomorrow, you guys can go back to the live stream.
One wave right here, then a second wave right here, almost at the same time, happening together, just like coinciding, like you're doing one thing and then you're doing another thing super fast, kind of like, I guess it's kind of like live streaming. I am live streaming. What are you doing, man? Wake up, get back with the program. You're live right now on YouTube and you're doing your finger thing one way. Come on, man. You're streaming to YouTube. Think about that. Address the audience. Just kidding. I was being an idiot. How about that though? One wave, the next wave. It's like, it is almost in succession, right? That next wave, as I was paddling out, I was like, what's that on the horizon? I see something coming in. That could be good. Trouble is, a lot of times when you see something coming in on the horizon, often it's the backwash coming off, because Culburra Beach does have a bit of a steep sort of slope incline of sand, and that backwash, that what I call outward facing waves, kind of lifts the wave up higher than what it actually is, and then by the time it gets to you, it's gone. So I was paddling out thinking, yeah, that does look like something, but I'm well aware it could disappear by the time I see it, by the time it reaches me. And then when I sat there, I was like, dude, this is gonna be a left. Yeah, went for it. The biggest wave, says Johann Sebastian in the chit chat. Back up there. Tim says, Mindy, one of my childhood friends who became an international tennis champ was dope smoking throughout his sporting career. It improves lung capacity by smoking bongs. Okay, lung capacity is an interesting one. I hadn't thought of that, but we can talk about that as we get into that topic. I do want to address it very shortly. There is something else I want to talk about before we get there, though. Everyone's saying hi to AWF7, and AWF will know what I'm talking about because he was there. But I want to let you know, first of all, Johann Sebastian's son, what are you talking about, guys? What are they talking about? Benon, maybe if you waved at the swell, you'd get waves back. Is the swell polite? Is that what you're saying, Tim? You got to be polite to the swell? Johan says, what do you mean about that? The biggest wave. Yeah, okay. Was from Oz. G'day, Was. How you going, buddy? Good to see you, man. Cheers. Into the chit-chat. You get a cheers. So you know what this is. This is July, right? This is 56th minute of the live stream. I've been doing live streams 56 times. This is July the 26th. All the month of July, we're going live on YouTube, and that's thanks to Danny Black, came up with this concept. Now, I've pumped his channel in the chat if you want to go and give him some support, but I got to alert you to the fact he's not doing this on YouTube. He's doing it on Facebook, but that's okay. I did it on YouTube, and you also may know I've been going live every day on DLive. Now, DLive, I've been live on DLive every day from the beginning pretty much, so not just July, but even before in June and May, and the platform has really grown on me, and the delivery of my content there has matured to its own kind of little thing. I've got my own little setup there, my own little thing rolling. I'm kind of delivering some of it here on YouTube, but I'm also trying to keep it slightly different to my YouTube delivery methods, I guess. But something major happened yesterday on the stream on DLive. Now, yeah, Woz is digging the new surfboard. It's a 7S Superfish version 4 from Global Surf Industries. It's a beauty. So rad, so rad. Maybe the tide has turned. I'm laughing so hard my stomach's knotted. Tim, what did I miss? I'm hoping I'm on a roll and won't break my... Tim, crikey. Okay, I missed that. I don't know what you're talking about. It was 3 a.m. when I tuned in and I fell asleep. Oh, you missed it. Okay, so what I want to get at here is I was streaming on DLive, and the CEO of the platform, gentleman by the name of Charles Wayne, came onto my stream in the chat, just like anybody else. First off, he came in banging with a gift of a Ninja Genie, which, if you know the DLive platform, the Ninja Genie is the second largest donation you can get, and he came in with one without saying anything, and then everybody started talking about him in the chat, and I was and by the way, I did not know who this gentleman was when this happened. It was my chat that informed me who Charles Wayne is, and well, I could talk about it, or I could show it to you. Shall I just show you? Let's jump on over to the DLive. Now, I've already queued this in nicely. Let's watch when this unfolded on the DLive. What? I don't understand what you're saying, Gaming Kingdom. Charles, yeah, look at everyone giving Charles the love. True, your stories are true. Exactly. Never. Why would I make this crap up? Like, I'm here to be me. I'm here to be Benon, be Gives a Minute. I'm not going to make stuff up just for shits and giggles. He owns DLive. Everyone be good. Who does? Who owns DLive? Is this Charles Wayne, the owner? For real? Charles, do we have to search this? Do we have to search this? I don't know. This could be my chat being a little bit strange. Why am I so big there? Get back there. What should we search? Should we search DLive owner? Thanks, Jonah. Oops, hey, cheers, buddy. Thanks for jumping in. DLive owners. Meet DLive, the blockchain platform PewDiePie fled to. Who created DLive? He has a special tag. I didn't notice that special tag. I was dumbfounded by this. There's still so much about this platform I've got to learn. So that special tag is the little star with the boss is here. Act busy, Anarchist says. This is so cool. If that's true, Charles, well, thank you so much for the platform to start with. Thank you for the Ninja Genie, and thanks for swinging by the Gives a Minute DLive stream. What are you doing in my stream? Like, you've got so many places you could choose to look at, and you choose mine? I appreciate that. He's the CEO. What? It's like, seriously, it's like Susan Wojcicki coming into this YouTube. So we got the CEO of DLive in my stream? She just wouldn't do that, would she, Susan? Are you responsible for the host the other night when you put me on the front page? Because I didn't get to thank anyone personally, but Charles, that deserves a second cheers. You put me on the front page above PewDiePie the other night. And that was amazing in itself, right? I got it bumped above PewDiePie. Why don't I just search? It's like on the trending tab on YouTube. DLive, turn off those notifications. Unbelievable. I'm still baffled by it. Still baffled by it. And go DLive owners. Didn't I search that? Jonah says Charles is such a nice guy. Look, yeah, let me search Charles Wayne and the name DLive. Charles Wayne DLive. This Google Charles Wayne doing it. Yeah, there we go. Twitter. Oh, a blog. Charles Wayne found. What? Charles, if this looks legit, I'm gonna deliver this as though this is legit, because it could well be. Ninny Bong Press, Ninny, thanks for the follow, Ninny. You are the latest giver on the Gives a Minute DLive stream. Now, why would this make you a giver? Let me explain. You're giving me your time to consume this content. That's my spiel. Me, I'm a giver because I'm giving you my time to create this content. Anyone that follows, we're both givers here. This is a two-way street. DLive, but you're the latest giver on the Gives a Minute DLive stream. Thanks for the follow. Now back to the actual content here at the moment. I'm still perplexed if this is for real. If this is Charles, the owner of DLive, we have to say, hey, thanks for the diamond there, Ninbong, coming in with a Ninibong with a gift. I love DLive. Thank you. So do I. Yeah, and which this looks like this could well be Charles, the and then he CEO followed me. I just want to say again, thank you for the host. Like Susan subscribing to me set up the other day. That was incredible. Charles says your content is legit. Charles Wayne just followed. Just got a follow from the CEO of DLive. Can you believe this? There's no one over there, but I'm just got to turn away for a second because I'm getting emotional. Charles Wayne, thanks for the follow. You are the latest giver on the Gives a Minute D live stream. Now, why would this make you a giver? Let me explain. It's because you're giving me your time to create the content on the platform you created. I'm a giver because I'm giving you my time to create the content on the platform that you created. We're both givers here. You're a bigger giver than me because you gave the whole platform. But this is a two-way street, but you're the latest giver. I can't believe I'm saying you're a giver to the actual guy who gave the whole platform on the Gives a Minute D live stream. Thanks for the follow. Can you fathom? He actually got me off guard then because I delivered that speech slightly wrong. What the? At the start? I was baffled by it. Wow. But then we just went in to talk about, I asked him to get my approval for affiliate.
I don't know what to do here.
Let's hey, Charles, let's bump out of there. I did ask him up front if he could approve my affiliate ahead of time because if you don't know DLive, once you pass 200 followers, 200 subs, if you like, you can apply to become an affiliate. It's kind of like the equivalent of, I guess it's like AdSense becoming part of YPP here on YouTube. And I applied 7 or 8 days ago now, and I'm still waiting to hear back. And I just thought, hey man, we've got the CEO in my chat. This could be the optimum time to see if we can bump that up a little and get it done. He said, look man, we've streamlined that process and you'll be good to go soon. But I just want to say, before we go on to the discussion topic of skateboarding in the Olympics, I just want to say to everybody that's here from DLive, I just want to say thank you for you guys coming across to the YouTube. My initial concern with doing both was that I didn't want them to cross over, and so I almost made a point of not talking about DLive on YouTube and vice versa. But I'm quickly realizing that both of these platforms can coexist equally as beneficial to everybody. Like I said before, my content on DLive is very different to my content here on YouTube. Just my mannerisms and my discussions and the way I react and the way I interact, it's a little bit more flippant on DLive. And I'm not saying that I'm a different person, but I'm just saying I've come in certainly feeling like I've got to do something more because I'm not a gamer, and DLive is kind of like a Twitch gaming streaming platform. You've got to have something more to give, and I don't really have much, but I can be a dickhead. I can be affable. I can be likable. I can be stupid with cheerses, and I can come out of pre-roll super quick waiver days with silly gags and goofs and boofs and baffs, and I can kind of ham it up. And that's what I really wanted to do on DLive. I had no idea it would hit as well as it has. And to have the CEO come in and tell me your stuff's legit, or what did he say? Your content's legit. I was like, well, man, I gotta say thank you to them for providing the DLive, and I gotta say thank you to all the givers that are over on DLive, and you guys that are here from there. Super pumped to have you there. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you've never seen DLive, I have pumped a link in the chit chat here. You can go across to my DLive channel. I stream there every day. There's no real time frame, but it's usually my afternoon. But then again, on a Friday, which it is here today in Australia, I'm going to be streaming later than usual because I want to drink, and I don't want to start drinking at 4 p.m. here. I'm gonna come on a bit later than usual and stream right through till 11 p.m. or something. But I'm blown away by this. I'm humbled and I'm blown away. And I will be gaming on there as well. That's you know that from me. I always wanted to do the gaming here on YouTube when Stadia rolls out, and I will, but I'll bump a little bit of that onto DLive as well, just to see how that rolls. But in terms of gaming on an iMac here, as a hosting computer, a streaming computer, and a gaming computer, that ain't gonna work. But Stadia is cloud-based, so that should, and by then the NBN should be connected here. We got our nodes installed, but when they get connected, totally another game altogether. Looking back up at the top of the chat that we missed, and then we'll jump into the topic of conversation. Was says he digged the new surfboard. Yeah, man. AWF, I don't know, 3 a.m. Okay. The longest live stream. It was pretty long. I think I streamed last night for 3.5 hours. It's very slick, says Mindy. The board. I gotta say that 7S Superfish. Like you know, I'm sponsored by Global Surf Industries. You know, like you might say, well, you're just saying that's a good board because you want to sell more boards and get more affiliates. There is definitely that involved But you've seen the board. You've seen the waves I can get on it. You know my ability. Like I'm not a surfer, but I'm out there. I got those 2 waves within 6 minutes. That's the only proof that you need, really, that this board. Yeah, I don't need to highlight that. It's a rad board. Ninja Genie is 10 USD. Okay, so that's about, what's that, 13 or 14 Australian bucks. So that's pretty rad. Like, let's just say this: would Susan Wojcicki come into this YouTube live stream and super chat me 15 Australian dollars? I don't think she would. And if she did, she'd still take 30% off the top. Come on, Susie. Hi, Jonah. Everyone's saying hi to Jonah. It's me. Jonah says it's a good stream. Hi, Mindy. Yeah, Charlotte Rose missed it. That's all right. Hey, by the way, last night when I was in Danny Black's D-Live stream, Danny Black went live at about 11 p.m. I was so tired. I've been doing this July thing. Thanks, Danny. And I've been doing D-Live, and I've been doing my wave a day, and I've been doing my super quick wave a day edits and all this stuff. And I'm just so exhausted by the end of it. Last night I was like, all right, what is it? Quarter to 11. I'm going to bed, and I just go to bed. I'll just go and check on D-Live just to see if my application has gone through, and I see IMDb is live, and I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. So I go in there. I'm going to support because I believe Danny needs help. Danny, if you're watching, you need to set up Tidy Labs. Get your Tidy Labs rolling straight away. So I thought I'd go in there and give him just a couple of tips. But the next thing I know, it's 25 past 11, and my eyes are like, I've got to go to sleep, man. So I had to bump out. But anyway, I highly recommend going over and checking out. And Jonah says, anytime you see that symbol next to someone's name, that means they're a D-Live staff. Okay, I hadn't noticed the symbol, and I didn't notice it during that stream. But now that I know, it's like a little yellow circle with like a little crosshatch through it, I guess. I hadn't spotted it before, but now I know what it is. And yeah, Johan Sebastianson says the CEO, exactly, the CEO of D-Live in my stream. Can you fathom, man? I can't believe it. There was you know what they say, good people attract good people. Well, dude, thank you, man. Thanks for the props. You know the mutual love between you and I, dude. It was the CEO, yeah, and Charlotte Rose. Hi, Tim. The best speech, yeah, the introduction. See, that's something that I don't do on YouTube, you know, like you're the latest giver on the Gives a Minute YouTube. That just came out of my head on the D-Live. I thought, someone's following me, they could easily just unfollow. What am I going to do to keep them on the follow? Like, I don't want them to unfollow. I want a follow, and I want the number to continue to rise. So I thought, I've got to make something interesting about this. I got to give them something that's going to make them want to come back. And generally, if you can be sort of a little bit wacky and a little bit, I always use the word affable. Just try to be affable, and people will want to come and see more of that. That's the plan anyway. It might not work for everybody, of course, but it seems to be working okay for me. Hi, Shyla. Hi, Johan. Everyone's saying hi to Johan. Epic says, Shyla, yeah, and Shyla, you've been there from the beginning. You know that. Don't ever think I've forgotten about the stream where we floated hardcore. That was my best stream. I'm sorry, but the Charles Wayne coming in kind of bumped up above that one since then. But that one up until then was definitely my best D-Live stream. And also another thing, why I ran that here on the YouTube is because D-Live delete the streams after 7 days, and I just figured if that one got captured to the permanency here on YouTube, at least it'll always be there. I also screen captured it using QuickTime Screen Record, and I did put it on Twitter and tagged Charles in it. So if you want to go and have a look at my Twitter as well, I'm not that active on Twitter, but yeah. And Jonah says Charles following is a very big honor. It totally is, man. I don't feel like I deserve it yet. I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like I'm worthy of it right now. I'm baffled by it. I'm totally stoked that it happened, but I don't think I really deserve it just yet. And I gotta prove myself. And we did say that in that chat too. I didn't know how long Charles stayed in there for. He commented a bunch later about. I'm in bed watching, and we rolled the surfing clip for him because I figured, dude, you're a new giver and you might not know I'm surfing. So here's the surfing clip, and he's in bed watching it, having a bit of a laugh. But then after that, I said, look, guys, just because the Susan Wojcicki of D Live is in the chat doesn't mean the content's going to alter. Let's go back to what we were talking about. Big Booty Judy 123 is having a hard time. She's going through a breakup. We talked about that. I still did the same thing. I was conscious that Charles may still be watching. I was also conscious that he may have bumped out. You know, I got to be who I am, and that's all you can do, right? Hey, thanks Jonah for the plug there. Jamie Walker, I got to go. No worries, man. No worries, Jamie. Thanks for swinging by. I think I might know why he stopped by. He's probably looking at your application and going over your content and just happened to be live. Yeah, probably Jonah. That could be right. He probably got my application in 7 days after it bumped up to the top, and he went, "I'll check this guy out." Yeah, fair enough. One small step for D Live, one giant step for Benon. That totally, man. Looking back down, what games will you play? Very good question, MC and AWF. I'm very open to anything, but they have to be available on Stadia. So whatever Stadia rolls out, when it becomes available, I will play. One at a time, because I'm going to be buying them outright. I'm not going to do the foundation thing where you get an unlimited monthly supply or whatever. I'm just going to buy one game, and for a month, we'll see if this 43-year-old can get good at it. Rolgoz, you're in the house. You're not a surfer. I'm not really a surfer, Rolgoz. I've only been surfing since the Wave a Day projects began, which if you don't include the entire year, it's only been about 4 months in total, really. No, I'm not a surfer, Johann Sebastian. I'm surfing, and I go surfing. Does that make me a surfer? D-Live is amazing because of the connection the staff have with the streamers. That's true, but let's not forget that it's a smaller platform right now, so that may not be manageable at scale. It may be, and it may not change, but we don't know. It's early days. That's why I'm honored to be there. Rogozi says, do more interviews. Yeah, okay, interviews, absolutely. I was always waiting for a better internet connection before I get guests on visuals. That's why we've been doing the chat on Discord, the call-in chat, because you don't need a great connection for that. Absolutely. And the first interview that I have face-to-face will be our mate Charles. Not Charles D-Live CEO, Charles Marlowe. Just to clarify, there's two Charleses out there. Totally understand. Interviews or some people chatting about topics is more interesting. Yeah, totally. You raised the bar on D-Live. They should feel honoured. Oh, Northrop MJ, Mindy, thank you for that. All right, let's dig into the topic of chat here today. We want to talk about skateboarding in the Olympics. Now, I started skateboarding when I was 11, and I pursued this sport head down, tail up, at the expense of pretty much everything else. Not just because I wanted something out of it, which I never really thought that I could get. And let's be honest, I never really got anything from it. I got a couple of endorsements, a couple of sort of on the flow, if you like. Never a sponsorship. Never like my surfing sponsorships, but I did get on the flow from a couple of guys. But as I got into it more and more, obviously started skateboarding with more and more people, and I had a bunch of crew that always looked at skateboarding like it should be an Olympic sport. And I never really thought, what's the point of it? Like, why would skateboarding... There's people saying skateboarding shouldn't even be considered a sport. It's just a lifestyle. And I was like, it doesn't really faze me what you call it. But if calling it a sport and if putting it in the Olympics brings it to more people, then I'm downright for that, because skateboarding is so rad. And I encourage any young person that's considering skateboarding, I encourage them to go for it. It's a real healthy lifestyle. It puts you in the public space. It gets you involved with other people. It's one of the only sports, like along with surfing and similar, it's those sports that you actually think about this. You're encouraging your competitor to be better than you. You know the saying, you like going off, like everyone like when someone does a good trick on a skateboard in a competition, the other skaters are like, fuck yeah, you're ripping, man. That guy's gonna beat you in that competition. He's gonna take the purse above you, but you're encouraging him. You don't see that in like rugby, soccer, football. The team that loses is always sad and depressed. But in skateboarding, the guys that lose are like, look at the winner, man. What, You did that frontside 540 on that hip? Are you crazy? You know what I'm saying? Like it's. The other day we had on the Concrete podcast, we looked at Jack Tenney, his father, and he was saying how remember he said schooling promotes the fact that older is better than younger, and when you're younger you're always looking up to the older person, trying to be the older person. Well, skateboarding's different. Skateboarding has no age limit like that. Skateboarding is like, if you're doing the nastiest tricks on the nastiest hits in the park, you're rad. Doesn't matter what age it is. And that might be why when I was skateboarding, I was kicking around with my cousin who's about a year and a half older than me, but then we had Grazler who was about 2 years younger than me. So that's kind of strange to be 14 and hanging around with a 12-year-old. You might think that's a strange thing, but in skateboarding, it's completely accepted and it's part of growing up. So I got to say thank you to skateboarding, but there is a concern that I have. The concern being, in skateboarding and other such extreme sports, and I hate using the word extreme, it is only used in this context to bring it to a global audience. Hand in hand with that culture goes smoking pot. Now, I've never really been what you would consider a heavy pot smoker at all. It's something that, of course, I tried with my friends and I enjoyed it, but I never let the smoking affect me, or I never let it ruin my skateboarding or take precedence of my skateboarding. But I had other friends who did the exact opposite and smoked so much pot and skateboarded really, really, really well. I've got a friend of mine, I'm not going to name names, there's no point naming names here. I've got a close friend of mine who I still associate with loosely to these days. He was, not only was he a rad skateboarder, and he, again, about 3.5 years older than me, but he was smoking more pot than you could imagine any pothead would smoke. In fact, when we would go out skateboarding, we'd take the car, right? We'd go in the car to go to a skate park. We would have to go via someone's house to score pot. It's almost like you're going to the skate park. You've got to go via the 7-Eleven to get some munchies and a Slurpee, and you've got to make sure you pick up your mate from his house, and then you've got to go to the dealer's place to score pot before you can get to the park. It's literally, that's what it was. And he would smoke. They would pull cones and then in the car before the session, and then they'd go out and absolutely rip, like totally blazing and ripping. And those two words go hand in hand with skateboarding and pot smoking. And so it's the point of this discussion here is, at the Olympics, they obviously are going to drug test. Hands down, they're going to drug test. Now, what that does to skateboarders is put a very complex position in front of them. A lot of the major players in the skateboarding world, and I'm not speaking about any country in particular, I'm gonna name call Australia as one of them, and I'm gonna name call the States as another one. These are the two big players, and Brazil, of course. I know personally people that can't skateboard unless they're smoking pot. Now, you could say, well, they're not supposed to be in the Olympics because it's supposed to be drug-free. The question I have is, what is a drug these days? Like, is a cigarette regarded as you're having a drug? Is coffee a drug? Is alcohol a drug? Is pot a drug? We're not talking about intravenous mainlining heroin here. That is a completely separate situation. And if you think you can mainline heroin and then go skateboarding, you're disillusional. But the fact is, you can skateboard after smoking pot. Now, again, it's not something that I partook in, or not something that I'd encourage, but I know people, and if I could name names, you would be blown away. Actually, you won't even need to be blown away. Just think about the big names in skateboarding, certainly the big names in Australian skateboarding. 100% pot smokers. 100%. I am not going to name any names here, but I'm just saying it's the fact. And how long does pot stay in your system? Let's learn. Let's learn, I said. What is marijuana? This is from the drugabuse.gov website. So we all know what marijuana is, don't we? We all know what pot is. We all know what this is. But I really wanted to find out the long-term ingest of what is it called? THC. What's that stand for? Tetradioxide. I don't even know. THC is the mind-altering substance within cannabis, which is the marijuana leaf. 20 days. Okay, sorry, I'm disregarding the chat, but I'm going to have a quick squeeze back in there. Okay, looking back at. Okay, I'm gonna disregard the DLive chat because we finished that. I feel calling in chats are great. Says Raw goes. Okay, cool. Okay, here for the last 10 minutes. The Racing Gamer. G'day, Racing Gamer. Was from Oz. Damn straight, it's a sport. Takes great skill. Yeah, I guess the concept of a sport in its own is kind of. I don't care what it's labeled. Like my concern is when you have. So bringing skateboarding to a global population, global audience is a good thing. But in my mind, the Olympics don't need to do that. Tony Hawk did that way back with Pro Skater, and then the X Games and Boom Boom Huck Jam and all that stuff. The world knows skateboarding now. Like, go back to when I was a kid, and if I walked out the street here and said to a person mowing their lawn, "Where's the skate park?" They would say, "What's a skate park?" Now, I go out the street, ask the same person in 2019, "Where's the skate park?" "Oh, it's just up there across the road from the you take the left to get to the Penguin Head, but come back and take the first right, you'll see the skate park right there." Every freaking town's got a skate park, and we have Mr. Tony Hawk to thank for that, pretty much. He brought it to the, whether you like the guy or whether you don't like the guy, he brought it to the global population, and that's the reason we're having this discussion now, and I'm thankful for that. But with that comes the trepidation of this pot thing. Skateboarding is life. Like, I know nothing about skateboarding. Rogosia, your brother, right? Your brother was a pro skateboarder. Tony Hawk had his own house paid off early in his career. Yeah, totally. 420 blazing gang. I can't skateboard if I smoke or not. And same with me. Like, and I'm gonna be honest. Like, the times that I've been heavily stoned, skateboarding was the last thing I could conceive of doing. But I've seen it. I've seen my friends sucking back cones and then absolutely having the greatest session of their time. Unbelievable. Also, for those playing back in Australia, my friend who was the heaviest pot smoker and a skateboarder, 99.6 in his TER, tertiary entrance rank, high school equivalent. Unbelievable. So we were looking at how long Texi, what is it called? Tetrahydrocannabinol. Tetrahydrocannabinol. That's what THC stands for. So that can remain in your system for 30 to 45 days with a urine test, 60 to 75 and 90 days in a hair follicle test. So the big concern is there. If you say to the pro skateboarder who's been invited to the Olympics, dude, you got to not smoke pot for 70 days. What's that? 30, 60. That's about 3 months, right? So how can a dude who pretty much does that possibly on the daily, like if they're skate, I guess it wasn't every single skate with my friends, but I do know people that it has to be. So they're going to be ruled out, right? They're going to be completely ruled out unless there's a moratorium on pot in the Olympics, which I highly doubt. And then I go back to the initial question, is it worth having the sport or the lifestyle of skateboarding in the Olympics if it means you can't have the best skateboarders competing because they're testing positive to a drug test for pot? You see what I'm saying? Like, what's the point? Like, if we can't see Mr. Blank competing in the Olympics representing Mr. Blank's country because he failed the drug test, well, I'm not really going to want to watch it. If the pool of skateboarders doesn't include Mr. Blank and Mr. Blank and Mr. Blank and Mr. Blank and Mrs. Blank and Mrs. Blank and Mr. Blank because they all failed drug tests, and we've only got these people here, it's like, well, they're not the skateboarders that are ripping in all the comps, like where there are no drug tests. They're not the ones winning the Vans Combi series. They're not the ones winning all of the bloody Park series. They're not the guys that are winning, but yet they're in the Olympics getting gold medals because they're passing drug tests. I don't think that that's very fair, and I don't think that that's representative of the sport and the lifestyle, and I'll come back to that term lifestyle, of skateboarding. That's my point. That's the main crux of this. If you're going to have this sport or this lifestyle in the Olympics, you have to encompass and engage in what that lifestyle is. They might turn around and say, well, we don't want to promote the idea of drug taking. And that's the crux of this matter. Where does that sort of sit into the global feeling on pot these days? Because we've already decriminalized it in many, many places. Medical use, not only medical, recreational use in California, it's legal. I mean, when does the Olympics sort of sit down as a committee and say, look, all right, we have to think about this. We have to reevaluate. We have to say, okay, this is why this needs to be allowed, and this is why heroin isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it may sound like I'm saying, this may come across to some people as that's the most ludicrous thing ever. They'll never allow pot in the Olympics. It's like, well, then possibly they shouldn't have skateboarding, and to a lesser degree surfing. I don't know so much about the surfers and the surf. Of course, I know surfers love to suck back cones and drink beers and stay up late having parties and rock and roll and sex and drugs. But I'm just saying, I know personally within skateboarding about this, so that's why I'm relating it to skateboarding. 20 days from skateboards to pot. Skateboards, that is. Yeah, okay. Basically, a drug is any addictive chemical that your body can build tolerance to and stimulate, depress any bodily functions. That's totally coffee. Like, yeah, caffeine is a drug. Cigarettes, where does the line get drawn? And at what expense? Do we not see these pro skateboarders because of that line? I think that's not fair. And all the usual things. Yeah, exactly. Tea is also a drug. Yeah. Oh, raw goes it. If I have tea in the evening, I can't sleep because my bladder is full and I got to take a whiz every 5 seconds. That's a it's not a performance enhancing drug. And this is what they call the real doping scandal. Was from Oz comes in with a bang and comment. Totally. Travel Jet said he got off his train in Miami. No worries. Good to see you made it safely. Quick Draw McGraw. Hello, Quick Draw McGraw. Good to see you in the chat. Haven't seen you before. I'm going to give you a cheers. This cheers is for you. Good to see you in the Gives a Minute YouTube stream chit chat. Does anybody think I'm off target here? Does anybody think this is completely ludicrous? Have I missed this? Have I blown this completely out of the water? That's my take on it. And I personally want to see the Olympics sport of skateboarding. Like, I want to see it, but I want to see the stars of skateboarding, and I don't want the pot to be an issue. It looks like it may be, though. So I want to go back just a little, and I want to read you. And this is interesting, right? This is interesting. I find this humorous, and any skateboarder will. This is the Olympics page. So this is when it's happening, Tokyo 2020. So they're giving you the overview of skateboarding. It's really it's funny for this to be worded this way. Quick Draw McGraw, I've been watching Wave a Day for a year now. You so stoked, man. Thanks for that. I'm super stoked about surfing in the Olympics. Yeah, man. Look, I'm going to watch it. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to watch it for sure. Surfing and skateboarding. I just want to see the big names. And if they can't suck a cone beforehand and then do what they do, then it's going to kind of suck. Here we go. An Olympic debut for an essential feature of street culture. So don't forget that they're narrowing or they're dumbing this down. This could have been written with a skateboarder sitting next to a layman, let's say, and they want to deliver this to the general consensus, to the general populace. A skateboard is a short, narrow board with 2 small wheels attached to the bottom. There's actually 4 small wheels attached. I don't know where they missed that. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, everyone's going to have to do manuals and nose wheelies everywhere if there's only 2 wheels. Actually, okay, so it did say attached to the bottom at either end, I guess, but they should have just said with 4 wheels. What's the deal with 2? Raw goes, yeah. Will we see skateboarders on pod at the Olympics? That's exactly the question here. And I gotta say, would be cool to see different kinds of skating, like longboard and dancing. That ain't gonna happen, and we'll get to that in a second. I think what we'll see is the invited skateboarders that come to the Olympics. They will try to go without pot for a while, but they'll relapse. It's like it's a nasty thing. They'll smoke a bit, and then they'll fail the test, and they'll be booted out. That's what we'll see. Okay, so just jumping ahead of this, the essence of the sport: supreme skills and youthful cool. I never had any of that when I was a youth, I can tell you now. So there's two disciplines in skateboarding at the Olympics: street skating and park skating. Now, it's a crying shame that there's not a vert section, but I understand why they haven't done vert. I'm a vert dog, so I would rather just see a vert ramp, and I'd love to see an Olympic style vert ramp, like a regional style vert ramp, big extensions and lots of different hits and setback sections and whatnot. But they're not doing that. They're just doing park. So this street section doesn't really interest me. I'm not a street skater. I grew up skating the streets, but never really been. I pursued vert skating. So the park section is what interests me. But just reading, park competitions take place on a hollowed-out course featuring a series of complicated curves, some resembling large dishes and dome-shaped bowls. From the bottom of the cavity, the curved surfaces rise steeply with the upper part of the incline either vertical or almost vertical. Among the attractions of park competitions are the immense heights achieved by climbing the curves and the speed and performing amazing mid-air tricks. This just reads like the worst kind of... Well, what's skateboarding in 1990? I'll tell you what skateboarding is. It's a variety of tricks. They increase when the kicker ramp is used to gain height. That means take air. I don't want to come across wrong. I'm not having a crack at it. I know that they've got to present this to the dumbest down populace, and they have done. It's just comical from a skateboarder's perspective. And I'm an ex-skateboarder. You know, I gave the sport away after injuries. I still associate myself as a skateboarder. I'm not skateboarding, but it's always going to be in me as who I am. That skateboarding made me a person. Skateboarding made me the person I am to this day. So if you don't like me, you've got to blame skateboarding. So it would be good to see. Yeah, longboard's not in it. Okay, quick draw McGraw. So pot being legalized a lot of places, so why not? Beyond Beauty, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. And like I didn't want to name countries, but I did call Australia, America, and Brazil. But if you look at like the biggest contingent of the pro skateboarding community, definitely in the park series anyway. And how many places in America is pot legalized recreational? I would consider skateboarding a recreational pastime. So if you can take a can of Mountain Dew or a can of pop, why can't you pull a cone beforehand as well? Just saying. I relapsed and had coffee this morning. Raw goes, yeah. You gotta get that checked out. Raw goes, yeah. Never mind. Autocorrect. Okay, okay, no worries. I dig vert. Okay, quick draw. That's my and of course I'm hoping that the park series has a good vert wall or a good vert section at least. AWF, I feel like if you can't be at your best when skating or other playing sports without doing drugs, then you don't deserve to be in the Olympics. But that's not the fact, unfortunately. The fact is the biggest skateboarders in the world smoke pot. So do we want to see the big name stars? Do you want to see Michael Jordan in the basketball in the Olympics, or do you not? That's the comparison. No, I'm not suggesting Michael Jordan was taking performance-enhancing drugs. I'm just saying with this street culture of skating and the park and the discipline and the street and all the inclines and the near vertical rises, part of that is pot. In the US, it's beginning to be medically prescribed. So what if it's their medicine? Well, there's that too, isn't there? That's a situation I didn't even really think about. Do we see pro skateboarders going to get medical marijuana as a prescription so that then they can? That's opened up a whole nother can, hasn't it? So I'm in the Olympics and I smoke pot normally, so I'm just going to go to any old quack I can find to say, I've got something that I need prescribed pot, so I can medically have a permission. It's like a little note from your mum. I give permission for Mr. Blank to smoke a few cones before competing in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. That's a classic. Nice point. Nice point, Beyond Beauty. I disagree. Oh, if caffeine is no different. Yeah, totally. And I'm with you, Mindy. I completely disagree with what AWF said. Beyond says it's being legalized by medicine, however, it's also an issue with loopholes being filled. Folks, this is an interesting discussion point. Either way, we're going to see skateboarding in the 2020 Olympics and surfing. I'm going to watch it. Will you watch it? Thanks for watching the stream today. I'll see you all tomorrow for more madness.
Oh, that's we're out of time.